Welcome to Arsenal Daily, the most trusted home for every Arsenal fan on the planet. Welcome back, everyone. Whether you're a lifelong member of this community or you're finding Arsenal Daily for the very first time today, you are in exactly the right place. This is where every Gooner comes for honest, passionate, and clear coverage of Arsenal Football Club every single day. The results, the tactics, the transfers, the big European nights, the moments that make you jump out of your seat, and the stories that remind you why supporting this club is one of the great privileges of being a football fan. Before we go any further, please head over to the Arsenal Daily YouTube channel right now and subscribe. Thousands of Arsenal fans already trust the channel as their #1 source for everything Gunners, delivered every single day with the honesty and passion this club deserves. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and be part of this community. Because today we have a story that every single Arsenal fan needs to sit with and really absorb. Jose Mourinho, one of the most decorated and most respected football managers who has ever lived, has come out and publicly backed Arsenal to beat Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League final on the 30th of May. He has praised Mikel Arteta. He has praised the mentality of this squad. And he has said clearly that Arsenal have a real chance despite being the underdogs. Let's break down every single piece of this story. The word that matters most. And the man who said it. Real chance. 2 words. Simple words. But when those 2 words come from Jose Mourinho, when that specific phrase is used by a man who has won the Champions League twice and managed in the biggest games European football has to offer, they carry a weight and a significance that goes well beyond a casual prediction. Jose Mourinho has backed Arsenal to beat Paris Saint-Germain in the 2026 Champions League final. Let that sit for a moment, because this is not your neighbor being optimistic. This is not a pundit on television filling time with a hot take. This is one of the most successful managers in the history of the Champions League. A man who knows what it takes to win in Europe at the very highest level. A man who has studied tactics, read games, and understood the margins between winning and losing in European finals in ways that very few people in football ever get to experience. And he is saying Arsenal have a real chance. He is praising Mikel Arteta's work. He is talking about the tactical preparation, the mental strength, and the emotional environment that Arteta has built at this club. He is saying that even though Arsenal are the underdogs going into this final, the picture is not as one-sided as some people in the media are making it appear. Today on Arsenal Daily, we are going to go through all of it. What Mourinho said and why his specific words matter. The incredible journey Arsenal have made to reach this final. Who PSG are and why they are such a formidable opponent. What Arteta has built that makes Mourinho believe. What actually happens in Champions League finals that separates the winners from the losers. And what every Arsenal fan should be thinking and feeling as we count down the days to Budapest on May the 30th. This is the blog you need to read before the biggest night in Arsenal's recent history. Let's get into every detail. Jose Mourinho backs Arsenal. Why his opinion carries so much weight. Before we talk about what Mourinho said, let's spend a moment explaining why his opinion on this specific subject is so valuable. Jose Mourinho is a 2-time Champions League winner. He won it with Porto in 2004, defeating Monaco in the final. He won it again with Inter Milan in 2010, defeating Bayern Munich at the Bernabeu in one of the most famous finals in the modern era. Both times he did it with clubs who were considered underdogs going into the competition. Porto were a small Portuguese club taking on the established giants of Europe. Inter Milan were a club who had waited 45 years to win the trophy again. He knows how underdogs win European Cups. He knows the specific blend of tactical intelligence, defensive organization, mental resilience, and collective belief that allows a club without the most celebrated squad to go and beat the teams who are expected to dominate. He has done it not once, but twice. So when Mourinho watches Arsenal and watches PSG and says Arsenal have a real chance, he is not being diplomatic or kind. He is applying the same analytical framework that he has used throughout his entire managerial career. He is identifying the specific things about Arsenal that make him believe this outcome is possible. And he is telling the world what he sees. His praise of Mikel Arteta is equally significant. Mourinho said that Arteta's tactical preparation, his mental approach to games, and his emotional impact on the players are all of the highest quality. Coming from a manager of Mourinho's stature, that level of specific recognition is extraordinary. Mourinho does not hand out compliments casually. He is a competitive man who has always been direct about what he thinks. So when he says Arteta has managed this club tactically, mentally, and emotionally in a way that deserves enormous credit, you know he means every single word. And there is another layer to this that makes it even more meaningful. Last season, it was PSG who knocked Arsenal out of the Champions League at the semi-final stage. That elimination was painful. Fabian Ruiz scored early. Achraf Hakimi put the tie beyond doubt. And despite Bukayo Saka pulling one back, Arsenal could not complete the comeback. PSG went on to win the Champions League final, beating Inter Milan in Munich. They are the defending champions. They have done this before. They know how to go all the way. And this season, Arsenal have come back. They have gone one further. They beat Atletico Madrid in the semi-finals to reach the final for the first time in 20 years. And now Jose Mourinho is saying that the redemption story has a real chance of having the ending Arsenal fans have been dreaming about. The road that brought Arsenal here, an extraordinary European campaign. Let us talk about the journey, because every Arsenal fan deserves to understand exactly how remarkable this European campaign has been. Arsenal entered the Champions League this season after missing it for 6 years. Under Mikel Arteta, they have improved every single season since his arrival, reaching the quarterfinals in the 2023-24 campaign, going all the way to the semi-finals in 2024-25, where PSG ended their hopes. And now in 2025-26, they have gone one step further and reached the final for the first time in 2 decades. In the group stage and league phase, Arsenal were outstanding. They conceded just 5 goals in 12 games. That is a defensive record that is remarkable in European competition. It speaks directly to the structure and organization that Arteta has built at the back, with David Raya making saves at crucial moments, Gabriel and his defensive partners staying disciplined, and the whole team pressing together in a way that makes Arsenal very difficult to break down. The knockout rounds were where the real test came. Arsenal beat PSV Eindhoven 9-3 on aggregate in the round of 16, with a 7-1 first-leg demolition that announced them as a genuine continental force. Then came Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. The holders, 15-time European champions, arguably the greatest club in the history of the Champions League. Arsenal faced them and came through. The games against Real Madrid were not easy, but Arsenal showed they could handle the biggest occasions and the most intimidating opponents. And then Atletico Madrid in the semifinals, arguably one of the hardest draws possible. Diego Simeone's team are specialists in European football. They know how to defend. They know how to hurt you on the counter. They have been in 2 Champions League finals themselves, losing both times to Real Madrid. This was a proper test of Arsenal's European credentials. First leg in Madrid at the Metropolitano. Arsenal drew 1-1. They held their nerve on one of the most intimidating stages in European football. The result left everything perfectly poised for the second leg at the Emirates. And then on the 5th of May, 2026, the Emirates Stadium experienced one of its greatest ever nights. The atmosphere was described as unlike anything felt at the ground in years. In the first half, Victor Gyökeres made a brilliant run that unhinged the Atletico defense, and his cross found Leandro Trossard. Trossard's low drive was pushed out by Jan Oblak, but Bukayo Saka was quickest to react, arriving at the right moment to slot home from 4 yards. Arsenal 1-0 Atletico, and that goal held up. In the second half, Atletico pushed hard. Giuliano Simeone had a chance that could have changed everything, but Gabriel Magalhaes made a last-ditch tackle of the very highest quality to deny him. David Raya then repelled Antoine Griezmann's blast. Arsenal held on, 2-1 on aggregate. The final whistle blew. The ticker tape fell. The pyrotechnics lit up the sky. And for the first time in 20 years, Arsenal Football Club were in the Champions League final. Mikel Arteta stood on that pitch and said something that every Arsenal fan will carry with them forever. He said it was an incredible night. He said they had made history again together. He said he could not be happier or prouder for everyone involved in this football club. And he spoke about visualizing this moment, even in the difficult early days of his reign. He had seen it in his mind. He had worked towards it every single day. And now here it was. Who Arsenal face, understanding PSG, and why the final is so fascinating. Paris Saint-Germain are the defending Champions League holders. They won the trophy last season in Munich, beating Inter Milan in the final. And they have come back this season with the same ruthlessness and the same quality that carried them to that triumph. Their route to this final was spectacular. They beat Bayern Munich in the semifinals with a 5-4 aggregate victory over 2 legs that was one of the most breathtaking ties of the entire competition. In the second leg in Munich, PSG came to the Allianz Arena knowing Bayern needed a big performance to turn the tie around. Instead, PSG defended brilliantly, held their shape, and came through to book their place in Budapest. PSG under Luis Enrique play with incredible attacking quality and a high press that suffocates opponents when it works at its best. Ousmane Dembele has been outstanding on the right side all season. Bradley Barcola on the left has terrorized fullbacks. Fabian Ruiz in midfield has the ability to arrive late and score crucial goals. And Joao Neves has been one of the best young midfielders in European football this season. They're the defending champions. They have the experience of knowing what it takes to win this competition. Their goalkeeper, Matvei Safonov, has been excellent. Their defenders, Nuno Mendes and Hakimi, are 2 of the best fullbacks in the world. They are a team firing on every cylinder, and they will come to Budapest as the favorites. But here is the thing, and this is what Mourinho is saying. Being the favorite in a Champions League final does not guarantee you win it. Football does not work that way. Every team that goes into a final as the underdog has the exact same number of players on the pitch. They kick the same ball. The game lasts 90 minutes for both sides. And if the underdog is tactically prepared, mentally strong, emotionally united, and playing with collective belief, they can win. Mourinho has done himself. Twice. What Mourinho praises about Arteta, the 3 pillars. Let us focus on the specific things Mourinho praised about Mikel Arteta, because they're deeply important for understanding why Arsenal have a real chance. Tactical preparation. Mourinho praised Arteta's tactical work. He looked at how Arsenal have been set up this season, how they have adapted their approach for different opponents, how they have been structured and disciplined in Europe while also being brave and attacking. The 4-3-3 that Arteta uses has been flexible and effective. Arsenal conceded just 5 goals in their 12 league phase games this season. Their defensive organization has been exceptional, but they have also been capable of scoring beautiful goals through combinations between their attackers. The tactical blueprint is clear and it works. Mental approach. Mourinho praised the mental side of what Arteta has created at Arsenal. He has built a squad that does not crumble under pressure, that does not collapse when things go wrong, that does not give up when they go a goal down. Think about the West Ham game last weekend where Arsenal were 1-0 up in the 83rd minute with a VAR drama in the 95th minute that could have destroyed them. They held together. They kept their discipline. The mental strength that Arteta has developed in this group over several years of near misses and setbacks is real, and it shows in moments like that. Emotional impact. And then there is the emotional dimension. This is perhaps the most interesting of Mourinho's 3 observations. He said Arteta has had a real emotional impact on this squad. What does that mean? It means the players genuinely believe in what they are doing. They play for each other. They play for the manager. They play with a shared purpose and a shared identity that goes beyond just being good technical footballers. The scenes after the Atletico semi-final told you everything. Players running to the fans. Staff members celebrating together. A whole group of people who have been on this journey together experiencing one of the greatest moments of their professional lives. That emotion is a weapon. In a Champions League final, teams who are emotionally connected and deeply motivated sometimes outperform what their individual talent levels might suggest. Mourinho knows all of this from personal experience, and he is saying that Arteta has all 3 of those things working at Arsenal right now. Arteta visualized this moment, and now it is here. There is one piece of what Arteta said after the Atletico semi-final victory that deserves special attention. He said he had visualized Arsenal conquering the Champions League, even in the difficult early days of his reign. Visualization. It is a word that serious coaches and serious athletes use when they talk about the mental side of performance. The idea that you see the outcome you want clearly in your mind before it happens. That you rehearse the journey. That you feel the emotion of achieving the goal before you have actually achieved it. And that this mental rehearsal gives you a framework to work towards, a belief system to operate from, and a sense of purpose that keeps you going through the difficult moments. Arteta arrived at Arsenal in December 2019. He took over a club that was struggling. The early months were difficult. The results were not always there. The transition was painful at times. But throughout all of that, he had a picture in his mind of where this club could go. He has said multiple times in public that he came to Arsenal because he believed in the vision, that he saw something in this club and these people that made him believe they could build something special. And now, 6.5 years later, that vision has brought them to a Champions League final. It has brought them to the edge of ending a 22-year wait for a Premier League title at the same time. It has brought them to the most exciting and most significant period in Arsenal's recent history. Mourinho sees that in Arteta. He recognizes the work that has gone into building this moment. And he's saying publicly that the man who built this is one of the best coaches operating in European football right now. Do you believe Arsenal can win the Champions League? And do you believe that Arteta is the greatest manager Arsenal have had since Arsene Wenger? Because right now, both of those questions have answers that were not obvious just a few years ago. The Budap set final, and what every Arsenal fan should know. The Champions League final takes place on Saturday, the 30th of May, 2026 at the Puskás Arena in Budapest, Hungary. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. British Summer Time. The stadium holds just under 67,000 people and is one of the most impressive modern football venues in Europe. It hosted the Europa League final in 2023 and the 2020 UEFA Super Cup. But the 2026 Champions League final will be the biggest event the stadium has ever hosted. It is the second Champions League final in Arsenal's history. Their only previous appearance was in 2006 when they lost 2-1 to Barcelona at the Stade de France in Paris. Santi Cazorla was not in that team. Cesc Fabregas was. So was Ashley Cole and Thierry Henry. So was Jens Lehmann, who was controversially sent off in the 17th minute after handling the ball outside his area. Arsenal held on until the 76th minute before Samuel Eto'o equalized, and then Juliano Belletti scored the winner. 20 years of hurt from that night. This time Arsenal have Victor Gyökeres to lead the line. They have Bukayo Saka, who was 4 years old when that 2006 final was played. They have Martin Odegaard to create. They have Declan Rice to control the midfield. They have David Raya to make the saves. And they have Leandro Trossard, the man who scored the semi-final winner against West Ham in the Premier League last week, ready to produce big moments in big games. PSG are formidable, but Arsenal have come through PSV, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid to get here. They are not afraid of big opponents. They are not afraid of the biggest stage. They are ready. The big questions for the Arsenal daily community. Here are the questions we want every single Gooner in this community to think about and debate ahead of Budapest. Do you share Mourinho's belief that Arsenal have a real chance of beating PSG? Not just hope, real belief. Based on everything Arsenal have shown this season, on their European run, on the mentality Arteta has built, do you genuinely believe they can win? How much does it mean to you personally that Arsenal are in a Champions League final 20 years after Barcelona broke our hearts in Paris? The fans who were alive in 2006 will know how that night felt. The younger fans who only know the Arteta era have never seen Arsenal at this level before. What does this moment mean to you? And if Arsenal were to win the Premier League title in the next 2 weeks and then go to Budapest and win the Champions League final, where does that place Mikel Arteta in the history of this club? Does he sit alongside Wenger? Does he surpass him? The conversation deserves to be had. Drop every thought in the comments. The Arsenal Daily community has some of the most passionate and knowledgeable football minds anywhere in the world, and we want to hear from every single one of you. Final thoughts. Believe like Mourinho believes. Jose Mourinho has won the Champions League twice. He has managed in the biggest moments European football has to offer. He has built teams that went into finals as underdogs and came out as champions. He knows exactly what it takes and exactly what it looks like. And he is looking at Arsenal and Mikel Arteta and saying real chance. Those two words from that man should fuel every Arsenal fan between now and the final whistle in Budapest on the 30th of May. Not blind optimism, not desperate hope, but the kind of rational, evidence-based belief that comes from someone who has been there and done it at the very highest level. Arsenal have been on an incredible journey to reach this moment. They beat PSV 9-3 on aggregate. They beat Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. They beat Atletico Madrid in the semifinals with Bukayo Saka scoring the decisive goal on one of the most electric nights the Emirates Stadium has ever experienced. And they will walk out in Budapest as the underdogs with a real chance. PSG are the defending champions. They are formidable. They have brilliant players. They have the experience of knowing how to win this competition. That is all true, but none of it makes them unbeatable. And Mourinho, the man who knows what it takes to beat the favorites in a Champions League final, is saying Arsenal can do it. Mikel Arteta visualized this moment years ago. He has built the tactics, the mentality, and the emotional environment that Mourinho recognizes and admires. The players are ready. The belief is real. And 20 years after the pain of Paris, Arsenal Football Club have one more chance to do something that has never been done before in this club's 140-year history. Win a Champions League. Arsenal Daily will be here for every single moment between now and that final. Every team news update, every pre-match analysis, every second of the build-up in Budapest, and then the reaction, the celebration, the analysis, all of it delivered honestly and passionately to this community the moment it happens. Thank you so much for reading today's blog. If this story has filled you with belief and excitement, please share it with every Arsenal fan you know. Let the whole community feel this together. And for all the daily Arsenal content you could ever want, the Arsenal Daily YouTube channel is exactly where you need to be. Subscribe right now. Hit the notification bell. Join the family. And never miss a single moment of the most exciting period in Arsenal's modern history. Budapest is waiting. Come on, you Gunners.